Hey everybody, it's Lisa Quilting in the Valley. We're going to talk about getting your quilts ready to go to a long armor. When you take a quilt to the long armor, you want to make sure that your backing is at least 4 inches larger than your quilt on all 4 sides. The reason for that is, if you look down here, I've got to attach it to my leaders, and there's some space going to be lost there because it's attached to the frame on both ends. Additionally, on the sides, if I don't have 4 inches, and we'll talk about why I don't, but if I don't have 4 inches here and I have a machine that I need to test the tension on, there's nowhere to test tension before starting the quilt other than on the quilt. And that means you're getting all kinds of additional holes in your quilt in order to get the tension right. So make sure anytime you take your quilts to a long armor, you provide them with a backing that is at least 4 inches wider on both sides. The other thing that you're going to want to make sure that you do is when you have seams in your backing, make sure that the big seams go this way, not this way. And the reason for that is, so you've got your rail that pulls tension this way and your rail that pulls tension this way. When you do a seam, it's pulling the fabric together tighter right where that seam is. So if your seam is running up here, it's a little bit tighter than the fabric out on both ends. Depending on how wide your quilt is, you may have a lot of extra play on both ends to avoid snapping your seam line when they tension your quilt. That means you could have tucks in the back of your quilt, and your long armor cannot tell that. They can't see the underside when they're quilting. So it's really better for you to have your seams going horizontally than it is vertically on your backings. Give them 4 extra inches. Now I'll tell you why I didn't do that with this. I wanted to use Minky, and this Minky is 58 inches, or excuse me, 58 inches wide, and this quilt just barely fit within it. And I'm using a Bernina. I don't have to test my tension. It's always right on. It's a sewing machine, so you don't test your tension before you sew with your sewing machine. And I don't have to test my tension with my Bernina long arm. It just always works, and it always has for the 5 years that I've had it. So anyway, that's why I could get away with this. Most long armors do not have Berninas. Check, check. Make sure you give them 4 extra inches on all 4 sides.